So I am actually making this tutorial as though I am speaking to people who have purchased my kit. You'll receive something, a bodice that looks like this. It's a little mini bodice, and it will fit over the little hanger that you will also find in your kit. You will need to mark an area of 1.5 inches from the shoulder. Mark 1.5 inches approximately, and then make a line across on both sides. And then I want you to take your fabric. I'll do it on this side so that you can see it first. You take it, and I'd like you to cut strips. I want you to cut them approximately 1/4 of an inch wide. Let's see, that's my guesstimate. Then after I do that, and I cut all of my strips, and you can see that none of them are exactly the same. There's enough fabric here to do it. Then you just tear your fabric, tear all of them, and make them into strips. Okay, now I want you to take one of these strips, and I want you to set it aside someplace where you're not going to use it, because it'll be used later. Okay, now that we cut all these strips, and we what I want you to do is make sure you pull out most of the stray strings that are hanging around. You pull them off of your strips. This is so you don't have so much. You'll have to clean this project up more than once, and this is one of the times you'll be cleaning it up. I mean, it's quite a little bit. But anyways, that's enough. And you can do more, it's up to you. But I usually put them together like this, and then you can cut them in half one more time. So actually, I already counted how many of these we're going to need, and we are going to need about 20. So to start my bodice out, what I do is at this point, I'm going to put on like this, just one layer of strips of fabric here. I'm going to glue it right below the line, because the next part we're going to do, it's going to go over the line of this bodice. So this, consider it one, two, three. So 2 in the front, 1 on the hip, 2 in front, 1 on the hips. So you're going to actually do 6. 6 of these are going to go. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of folding them in such a way that both the front shows on them. So put plenty of glue on it, and make sure that the pattern side is up and you're right below. Oops. So if you can look closely, let's let that focus. The pattern sides are up and everything is below that line. I made it red so you can see it. You can see it right there. See? Okay. One more. It looks cute already, doesn't it? I think it does. But I'm going to set that aside now, and then we're going to do another part of it. Now remember that long piece that you set aside? It's right here. I'd like you to put it, lay it down this way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the little strips, which will be around 8 inches long, because this was 16 inches long when we cut them first, then we cut them in half again. And then I'm going to fold it. I want you to look closely how I fold it, because I do it in this way for a good reason, so that all of the pattern part of the fabric shows when I'm attaching it. I take it and I make both wrong sides meet. Wrong sides are meeting, and the right sides are on that side. Then I open it up like this and I place one on top. And there's a hole there. So it's like a crisscross. I'm going to light so you can see it. See, it's like a little crisscross. And then I place the other long fabric I have on top, and I'm going to do what's called a lark's head. I'm going to take these little strips and put them through the hole, and they will attach on to the string, and do it in a little snug manner. It kind of looks like a little bit of a, almost like a tie, you know, when a tie is tied. And I want you to notice how right here both front sides are there showing. Here on the knot, the front side is showing, but it's really this part that's hanging that's important, because this part will probably get all covered up. And you will repeat that process until you have 15 strips on here. And you want to get it kind of the center of this. And realize that each of these strips are not exactly the same size. That is the style. This style, when I design it, it's not an exact style. It is a tattered style where I think that's about right. Now what you do is when you've done this part, then you are going to go above the red line and test it. I'm not going to actually put it on yet. I'm just going to test it and see. And what you want it to do is you want it to, when you put it on, to look like it's a little bit small, because I want you to do a nice snug wrap. Look, I snugged it up, and they're both from each end are touching, so this is going to cover it nicely. Look, it's already a dress. Now I do leave it, and then I later on I do come and I trim along here this edge, so you can see they're all different lengths. If you like that look, you can leave it like that actually, but we're not done yet. You'll also find a piece that looks like this. And this one, I want you to get it, and I want you to cut it in half. This is going, usually when I design something, I place something underneath that's not too expensive, or I actually have a lot of. So I actually have a lot of this type of a lace, so you're going to need about 5 of them. So I'll probably give you, you'll probably end up have 6, so you can decide if you want to add it. But I want you to count here. There, you can see the knots. 1, 2, 3. And then I want you to go in here and place this here. Oops. Place the lace in there. Okay. And I want you to knot it just like if when you first time you tie your shoe. And not too tight, because we're going to adjust them if we need to later. and then count 1, 2, 3. Now this is not exact. If you count 4 or whatever, it's okay. Then, right on the last one, that's where the 5th one goes. It'll be the last one. Oh. Okay, let's pull. So now, snugify this. So make sure it's kind of snug all together. You can pull down on your fabrics to make sure they're snug. Now I showed you, or later on I'll show you different ones you can choose, but this is the piece that you will receive in your packet, and it is what I used in the final dress. So we're going to use the same thing. So don't get mixed up if you see slightly different looks of dresses. So in this pattern, what I'm using is this and this as the collar. This and this are the collar of my dress. So I just took off the collar, took those off, and make sure that you get, so you cut it off and then you make it look like the collar. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 items, and you trim it. And so I want you to do this first before we add the waistline and before you you know, do any other part, because it's very helpful to have it done ahead of time. So then I test it to see about where I might want it to be, so I at least have an idea. I decided I was going to use this part that's left over here as the shoulder piece also, and I basically will take it and just trim down all those little stray, just trim them all down. And this is going to be my shoulder piece. What I did before is that I put the shoulder piece on after I put on the waist, and it got in the way. So, and then it showed me that I needed to make sure and give you plenty of this, so that if you do want to use it for the shoulders, you need to have enough. And you don't need to go all the way down, but you can, if you want, you can just cut it and then just cut it in half and then just use that like that. You don't need to use it all, but that's your choice. There. So then you have 2, and it'll go down the shoulders, and you just clean it up as much as you like. Remember, this is a tattered looking, and so this is going to go on the shoulder. Now, as I put that on the shoulder, you can decide, do I want it to be like this? And what you'll do is make sure you lean forward a little bit. Lean it. You start here on the end, and then you kind of are going to, let me see if I can show you. So you're going to follow the angle of your dress. And if you want, and you don't want it to show that much, we could just cut it right there and just do half of it. But I'm going to put the whole thing on. You can also decide, like, to leave that little hump there. See? But I am just going to do the center just for ease. And look, you just have a very little bit of space to actually hook this on. So I have very little, so keep that in mind when you are gluing the other down. I'm going to put something in here so that it'll give you a better view of what I'm doing. Oops. Maybe this pin will help. There we go. I'm putting this in for your benefit. I don't have to have it in, but you can see how tiny that is. Then I usually start at the shoulder, and I put a little glue at the shoulder. And remember, you just put in a little bit to start, just so it holds it together where you want it and the way you want it. Okay, it's just slightly holding together. Then I flip it up and I put glue. You can put it on the dress, or you can put it on the actual. I just find that it's easier to make sure you leave like a little bit here where you could grab onto, so that you can actually, here I'm going to do this one with on top of the lace. But then I leave just a little bit, oops, without any glue, so I can grab it and form it. Because once you get it formed where you want it, then you can either cut it off or you can just add more glue. Now, exactness is not necessary with this. You really, you try to line it up about the same on each side. You decide how far, that's bothering me now. You decide how far you want it to go. And what I'm doing is I will glue only so far. That way I could take it off if I want to. My little glue gun, I left it on accidentally all night. Don't tell my husband. And it's still kind of yellow. Sometimes when you leave it on. So here you go. This is what it looks like. On this side I left it shorter, and on this side it's longer. So at this point you can start deciding. And see here, I did not glue this down because I may just want to cut it off. I'm not sure. Okay, so the next thing, and I'm going to leave that part until later to decide. I don't, I don't finish everything off. I put it, I attach it, and then I leave my opportunity to change my mind if I need to. Because as you start fitting this together, as it comes together, it may just be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can find a spot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use a little piece that fell off of my dangle lace as the back of this little dress. So you can use little pieces of your dangle laces. You can use any lace that you have. You can use little pieces. Isn't that adorable? That'll look really cute. So I'm just going to start. I'll start in the center and I'll put a little glue. And I'll put my little thing there. That looks adorable, and you can do that on both sides if you want, or you can use what I used. You also will have a piece of this part of the lace, so this would make an adorable shoulder also. If you trim it like this, do you see that you can use it as a little shoulder? Even if you don't like that, you can do both if you want. Like this would look cute with just 3 of them right here on top. So it's up to you what you do. And I give you things to work with. Now, the other thing that you will find in your kit is this piece here. So what I do is I just, because from what I'm going to use it for, just break the string. Do that, then you can fold it in half, snip, snip, then fold it in half again, and snip, and you'll end up with 4 pieces. And you might want to clean it up if you feel like if there's a lot falling off of it, just clean it up. But what I usually do with this is I just take it in about the center, I twist it. There we go, because it doesn't matter which side is going to show. So on your bodice, pull your little dress up, and you will see that there's still room there, and that is where I want you to put it. I don't want you to put it on top, because then it'll peek through too much. So just add a little glue. If my glue ever comes out, there it goes. You can see it's still kind of yellow, can't you? Silly glue. Luckily at this project it doesn't matter. So twist a little, and then hold it like this, and just put it right on top of the glue. And you're going to put 2 of them. Look how beautiful that looks, just already. See how beautiful? And I do make these kind of short because I don't want them to peek out too much on the bottom. I want them to give the dress fullness. So this already has a lot of fullness to it. Okay. Okay, so here's my little skirt. Kind of, I taught you how to do this part, correct? Now what I was saying is that, you know, the string that you remove from that lace, you can, if you forget and you don't have this strip, you can actually use that instead of the strip. But let me tell you, the strip is better. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on, and I'm not going to, I'm going to make a decision if I want to keep this or take it off. Okay. So just wrap it around her. And this is just a temporary wrap. I'm not snugging it all the way. And do you see that beauty and that fullness of the dress? Now you can also, let's say that you make your dress and then it comes out too full. I like this fullness. You can actually go down underneath and just cut these right off. No biggie. So say you use your own fabric and it doesn't come out as the way I've created this design, you have options. So this looks beautiful. Now I want to decide if I'm going to keep this long piece here and glue it all down. It's going to get covered anyway, or I like it short. I actually like it long, see? And it's going to get covered up, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I'm going to glue it down. Okay, so now at this point, if you wish, you can like pull off some of the more of the strays. Remember, I told you that you will periodically want to pull the strays off, but I'm not going to do them all. That's just a comment for you. And now we're going to go ahead and wrap this around. Now you want to make sure when you're wrapping this that it's nice and snug together. Okay, so as I'm putting this on, can you see how, I want to show you closely, how this one, this is the, maybe take this open, this one and this one are not touching. See? They're not completely touching, but once I snug it tight, they will touch, and then they'll make the waistline kind of fold in a little bit. And that's actually what you want. So if it's too big for the waistline, you want to take a few off. It's better that it's a little small than it's a little big. Okay. Attach, attach, attach. So there we go. Because you can actually still move this around. And now, one of the things I keep on forgetting to do myself when I made these is I keep on forgetting to make sure that I smooth this. Now that it's like this, make sure you smooth it all down and give it a nice squeeze downward. If something's not sitting right, pull it, just like when you're getting baby dressed, and really look, because what I'm finding is sometimes I'm leaving these upward and then it's giving me a really large, like, let me show you, a really large table right here. So you need to make sure you're pulling everything downward. You're going to get a piece. Make sure you're careful right here not to cut this off, because you're going to use this portion, and cut that way, and we're going to cut around this. Can you see it? So this piece is in your kit, and I usually leave this intact because I might want to use it for the shoulder or to embellish something. There we go. So it looks like a little strange heart, but this is going to be our waistline. So I'm going to actually, I experiment when I do things, and so I'm going to put this on top and see, how's it going to look? And that looks pretty. I'm not going to put this on yet. I'm going to decide where, if I want this to be the front, or if I want this to be the front. And you know what? Both look beautiful. Look how pretty. It gives you a little waistline. This one looks beautiful also. But this side seems a little more poofy. So I'm going to spread them out a little bit to give more of the poofiness, a little bit more to the hips. So I'm working on making sure this is kind of flat. So now what I'm going to do is you go ahead and take all of the laces that you had on there and knot them upward and then pull them down, because I want the laces to show. This is why I'm doing this. So remember, we kind of attach them loosely. So now we're going to kind of pull it up. Since we're going to put glue on this, it doesn't really need to be knotted anymore. In fact, you can actually take out the knot if you feel like it's too poofy. You can release the knots and then just put, leave it there. Now we're going to decide on what we're going to put in front, and I have in your packets a lot of things. Okay, in your kit you will find, well, I still have this left. I haven't used that yet. You will find a little tiny pearl and several laces. And these laces you can use in a variety of ways. So if you really wanted to, you could have used this lace as your shoulder. And actually, if you end up not liking this, it's okay to put it right on top and change your mind. So when you're embellishing your dress, I usually take my laces and fold them like this. But I'm thinking you could also take it and cut it part ways so that it doesn't, you don't want it to lump up. You don't want it lumpy. So if you can see this one here, and you decide what order you want to put yours in. And actually this piece is a little shorter than the one I have for you because I'm just using tidbits of what I had left from the kits. And so do that and see, it makes it stay flatter, and but you're not working with two laces. And what I normally will do is, let's take this one. You can experiment what you like, because if you wish, you can put these on the sides. Okay, I don't know what's happening with my camera, but it keeps on turning off, and I didn't record pieces I was showing you. But what I ended up doing is, with these little dangles, I went ahead and glued them on the sides. So you can glue them on the side, or you can just leave them off. These are the dangle pieces of dangle lace. And then the other thing I did is I took all the pieces of lace and I put them on top of each other, and I glued them. Now, since my mat actually is non-stick, I can just put glue right onto my mat like this, and then just put something on it and it will stay and it'll form a little thing. But if you don't have that, then just grab a scrap piece of maybe the fabric and then glue on top of that. You know, you don't need the glue on the bottom, but glue on top of it. I'm just picking it up. Okay. So then get a scrap piece and start gluing, start folding your little laces and whatever else. Now the other thing you're going to find in your kit, which I didn't show you earlier, was a piece of pearls, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that off and first put this on, and then we'll decide how to put the pearls on. Let me show you close up what I did. First a little layer of the thicker lace, then I placed this shaped lace, and then this one on top. And there you go. And it's not too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, since I know all this is all glued together, I'm going to trim up here because I don't want it to be bulky. That's what I found also, is that when I was making my dresses, I learned that it might be bulky. I had decided this is going to be my front right here. And I'm going to lay this right here. Here are the seams of the folds of the dress, and it's what gives it a lot of hip. Okay, but I don't want to make it too bulky, so I'm going to put it kind of close, but not right on top completely. See, like that. Let's see. So I'm going to put a little glue, so here. You can do it the other way too. So right here, keep an eye on your center point of your dress, and before it dries, get it centered here. You know, think about that center. And even if you don't get it centered, it's okay. Okay, so now I just put some beautiful lace down. Next, you can decide and put. Now all of this can actually be sewn together if you want to sew it together, because I think it would look lovely sewn together. But this is not a sewing video. We're not doing any sewing on this. It's all glue. Okay, now on the other dress I actually put these beads more to the side, and I actually thought it hid it too much, so that's why I moved them to the front. The other thing you'll find in your kit is something that looks like this, and so far we've used all the little small laces, and then we've put pink on top. And now on this one you can see I put it on top, and that actually helps to sort of conceal and helps it to blend in well. But you can actually use this in a different fashion. You can put it around, you can put it around the waist after you're done, but I'm going to try and decide how I want it. I think I'm actually going to cut this one in half and use it a different way. So I have two pieces, 4 on each side. I think I'm going to place it right here. Now you can take it, you can put it here on the hip if you want. You can decide to put it in the back, but in the back we have enough. We're going to put things back there too. We're going to put the dangle lace back there and a nice big flower. So here you go. I decided I'm going to place this one. So here I put some glue, and I'm just going to place it right there. Because I wanted to make the this pink pearls, the highlight, I decided not to cover it up. And making sure it's kind of flattened. Now you'll also find some pearls like this in there. So these are made to go right here on in the center. These are just some flat back pearls, and I'm gonna put glue on 2 of them. I think that will probably be enough. On 2 of them. Put them right there in the center. There you go. And now look how lovely that looks. Now, can you see that slightly different ways I put it together, but both ways are working? They look lovely. And this one, I put most of the dangle lace on the back here, but on this one, we're putting some of the dangle lace on the hip. So this one doesn't have dangle lace on the hip, so that's your choice. You don't have to put it there. But I decided to put it this time. I like to show you variation. Okay, now that we did that, okay, you can get this is going to be your waistline. Now, there you go. See, this is just a practice, so I can see what it's going to look like and how high I might want the waistline to be. So if I put it there, then I can glue this down and it'll go right over everything. You see that? And it covers up most of this. It doesn't even look messy, but I like that idea of covering it up. So I think I'm going to do that. So if you draw the waistline high, there you go. I'll put it up higher. And then say you put it there, it will look good. Look, looks beautiful. But it's not covering as much of here, which is okay because it looks beautiful. So you decide what you want to do, okay? So even if you put it, if you make a plan and then it doesn't work out, so I'll take this and I'll put a little glue on it, because right in the center, because this is just going to be my tack. I usually tack things sort of before and then I glue them after to completely down. So I'm just kind of tacking it right in the center there. Let it dry a little. That way you can pull it nice and snug. And just look, it's still sticking up. They're hanging down there. You can push it down if you feel like it's too high. Well, this is going to go around. And you'll see this will stick up a little bit, but it's going to get glued down, so it's okay. So then here around the back, you see what it looks like? Now I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to glue this one first. But I think because I want to grab it snugly, I'm going to put glue on the dress itself. And see this, then I can grab this and pull it around gently but snugly. Gently but snugly. I'm saying gently because it's a piece. The other way I showed you, make sure you look before. This is a little bit bigger, so I'm going to look before and say, okay, I got it right there. Hold it down, and it's going to go over this one. I put a little bit on the side too. Now look how pretty the back. This is the back, and the front looks kind of beat up. But I'm going to go ahead and put some glue down here, and it will tack it all down. I'm going to put, I think I'm going to put the glue on the dress again because I want to be able to pull on the lace. Now don't pull on this part of the lace, like the dangles, because they'll come off because they're held down by, I'm going to try and get a good angle where you could see me. Okay, grab the actual lace, the center of the lace, and that's what you pull down and you glue. You see that? This is going to get covered also. If you want, actually, you can leave it like this, but I have a little decoration you're going to put there in your kit. So look how pretty that looks. Isn't that beautiful? It makes it look like a finished dress. Now you have another dangle hanging here. It's kind of sticking up. Okay. And then these three came downward, and this one sticking up. You can decide to glue it down, or you can remove it and use it for something else. It doesn't matter. This side didn't get one. It's okay. I think I'm going to cut it off actually. Look how pretty that looks. Now it is still a little bit lifted here because that's where I was grabbing from. So I'm going to put a little bit of lace glue on that section. And so I'm going to go around and check little pieces like right here. Now that I got it all down, I'm just going to, on this, the hip part, I think it needs a little glue. This is just so adorable. You will find this beautiful little ceramic flower, and then I will give you one of these little piece petals. Okay, and the little petal, you can just cut them in half. That's what I'm thinking of putting there. And then you can put these on the side here and here. I'm going to show you the other one so you can see how I did it. This one I just left a small one, but I think this the next one, and I kind of put them, folded them, and they kind of open up like that. See that? This one I think I'm going to put first, leave them big like that, and then put this on top. And double check your fabrics once you're gonna start gluing on top. Make sure they are facing so that the front side of the fabric is what's down, not the back side. This fabric actually you can't tell. See, this one right here you can tell. It's folded, and that's the front, and this is the back. So open it up, because realize once you put the glue on it, it's going to be hard to move them if you want to move them. So I'm going to actually place it right here, and this is actually right between the knots that we put knotted together. And I'm putting plenty of glue. Don't put your fingers in the glue. I'm using my nails, my gel nails. Anyway, make sure it's straight. Last time I had to adjust it, and because I moved it before it was dry. Okay, there you go. You'll find a little cute little rose, and this is a handmade rose I made myself. And if you need to, you can trim the bottom to make it flatter, but I'm just gonna test it first, and I think it is fine. So this is our back, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and first place this little last dangle right here, just because I have it. Was it one dangle I had, or there's two? It was just one. I used the other one up here. Or you can put your own. There you go. Now that is adorable. I love it. Just love it. Now we do have this still, so you could have put that down there too. But you can also use this, like say this comes out messy for you. Then you can take this little tiny piece and glue it, cut it, and just glue it right on top of any mess you made. Mine looks really pretty good, even though, but for the sake of my people, we will do it. Trim it. I like to show you everything, because for me, when I first started doing shabby chic, I had to watch the videos more than once, and then I had to try it several times. And then, so don't feel bad if you don't get it at first. Now, shake it up, grab your dress with your hands there, and see it's uneven. I like to use my slightly larger scissors and then just trim so that it's even. Or if you liked it all different lengths, you can leave it that way, but this is all up to you. Now also all these laces, they are usually just flat like this, so you can decide if you want to angle them. You know, just even all the ones around the dress, you can angle them. This is up to you, the details that you put into it. This one's wide enough for us to fold and do this, where it's like that. So go around and you make it look the way you want. Okay, we are done, and you will find inside your kits, I'm waiting for the delivery of the hangers. So I need to go check my mail and see if I got it. And you will find a hanger. So the hanger is basically what I started this design with. I had the hanger and I got this idea with a combination of the hanger and having seen dress forms. I said, well, why don't I hang a dress on my Christmas tree? Because Christmas is about beautiful small things that we love, designs like we love these beautiful dresses. Maybe we can't always wear them like they used to in the past, but it's a party dress or it's an elegant old dress that I've designed. Now also the other thing I do is if I come down here and I see, oh, this one, like here, it's facing upward, I'm like, oh, I missed that. No frets. You take it and you just flip it from underneath, and if need be, I actually found several of them like that. Like I said, I like to show you when there's something goes a little awry, because I'm not taking the time, because I'm thinking about teaching you, making sure you understand. Then flip them around, and you can put a tiny bit of glue on the back. Just a teeny tiny bit, and turn it around so it sticks the right way. You can also glue it up here on top by flipping it around and putting a little glue on top and then folding these down on top of it.